job description. That is so true. I have a different quote. It's slightly different, a little more vulgar. SEO is effing hard. Don't let your business solely rely on it. What I mean by this is diversify. SEO channel has changed slightly where you have to do other things in order to succeed in SEO, in order to succeed in internet marketing. In 2005, 2007, 2009, you probably could have got away with SEO or paid search, a couple different channels for your business to grow. But now you can't just rely on those things. You have to get smarter, or your competition is going to beat you. Not maybe not tomorrow, but one day soon. All right. So what I'll be talking about today, the areas of focus, and really the next 25 to 30 minutes, I'm going to talk about 6 core things. One, optimizing for humans. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a bit. And what that really entails. Obviously, mobile friendly, how to do it, a couple tips, a couple things you need to keep in mind when you're doing keyword research, how to do it right, using keyword themes and things around keyword research, and then building your brand. Building your brand is a big, big part of SEO and successfully dominating in internet marketing. So I will be talking about that. How can an SEO topic be complete without link building and content? I'll also be covering that. I'll talk about some creative ways I've built links, as well as what things you guys can follow and repeat, and kind of end with the basics. I know if everyone here probably already knows the basics, but it's always good to have a refresher. Well, without further ado, I'll jump right into it. So, like I said, or actually, who am I? Anton already did a great job introducing me. I'll just kind of briefly highlight. I've been through 27 Google algorithm updates. That's a lot. My world of SEO has changed. I remember when I first started, I was building links and actually optimizing meta description and white on white text. Well, that quickly ran away. And then I was building links through Yahoo directory. Well, that disappeared, and now we're building. Remember infographics for a while? That was huge. Still kind of works. Guest posts, and now I'm creating 10x content to build links. My claim to fame, or my biggest achievement early in my career, was when I ranked for the keyword mesothelioma, which is in Google US the most expensive keyword to bid on for PPC. It's over $100 a click, and in 2007, I ranked one of my clients for it. And so I'd love to say I did it on purpose and it was intentional, but I did a lot of things by accident, and well, not accident, but I ranked the site. I didn't intentionally rank it for that keyword. I was trying to rank it for other cancer-related keywords, and then I reverse engineered what I did and tried to repeat it again and again. All right, so enough about me. Let's jump into the presentation. Optimizing for humans. So what the hell does that mean? It means optimize your page titles, your meta descriptions for click-through rate. Look at Google Webmaster Tools, look at your analytics, and think about how you can optimize to get a higher click-through rate, because the golden triangle is this this little thing on that's saying that the first 5 results or 3 results are going to get the most clicks, and it kind of trickles down in click-through rate from there. So sorry about that. So focus on click-through rate, because being positioned 1, 2, and 3 is going to get you the most traffic. So you can optimize that and try to rank for that, or you can get more traffic just by trying to beat click-through rate. So one of the things, as a quick example, that I did for the company I work for, wheniwork.com, we have a 30-day free trial. So I added free for 30 days at the end of my page title. And that meant I had to reduce the amount of characters that are focused on keywords, but it improved the click-through rate about 15% without moving a single position. Now that's the easiest, cheapest way to do SEO, changing 30 characters around. So again, that's a huge opportunity. The same thing goes with meta description. Another opportunity to optimize for, again, for humans and trying to get that interaction. All right, the next thing, filling content gaps. And what a content gap is something that it could be questions people are asking. Think about there's demand for in questions or demand for a keyword and search volume, but there's not really any great content that serves that keyword. So, for example, at When I Work, again, the company I work for, we created, we did research and we found where there's content gaps. For particularly, people are searching for templates like job description templates, HR documents, and various keywords around templates to manage HR needs. And what we found by doing the research is that the content templates were really, really old. They were crummy. So we found an opportunity, a gap, because content that was ranking was really bad. So we created these really, really sexy, great looking templates, very clean UI, and we went to town building links. Now we rank for a lot of these keywords because we created something that was very, um, very good for an industry that was old competition. So, or old things, our competition was just haven't touched that area for a while. So the next thing is writing copy for conversion instead of SEO. So everybody's heard the age-old saying, content is king. Well, it is still king, but make sure it sells, right? And so think about headline copy, think about uh, any type of body copy. Think about how you can organize your website for conversions, because SEO is very, very costly, and it's going to increase in the cost over time because it's harder and harder. That means every dollar, every click and visitor you get needs to work harder for you. And so make sure you're optimizing everything around what the customer is looking for. And I'll tell you in a little bit how to actually do that and how to actually find out who your customers are and what they want. And at the end of the day, the general rule I follow when it comes to optimizing for humans is to help people get the job done. And what that means is people are looking for something, right? They're on the internet, they have a problem, a question, they're curious, they're doing research. Well, help them get that information, help them educate them, help them answer that question, help them purchase that product. At the end of the day, don't be so focused on every little technical detail. Focus on user experience and rankings will come. Actually, Moz.com recently published a study that says user experience positively impacts SEO or does impact SEO. And so that trend is going to continue. And what that means is by focusing on the user experience, you're going to rank higher. And why not solve the end goal of helping people or getting the sale or converting people with optimization. All right, so the next thing, mobile friendly. So I'll go through this very quickly because it is very, very straightforward. So the first and foremost thing is you want to have a responsive or dedicated website for mobile devices. Uh, Mobile could be iPhone or iOS or Android as well as tablet. So make sure your site is optimized on both. Think about, look at your analytics, look at where your traffic is coming from, and think about um, where you can what is going to give the best experience and for your users, and make sure the site is optimized that way. Sometimes that means having a dedicated website. Sometimes that means making a responsive website. So here's an example. The site ringcentral.com, they do voice over IP service. In 2013, I did a project for them to help them optimize for mobile. And what we found was making a responsive site didn't work well because the user experience was it was not bad, but it was a lot of information, and people are not going to make decisions on their phones um, for purchasing voice over IP. So what we did was, instead of making the call to action focus on conversions, it said, hey, send yourself a reminder. And it said the call to action was an email or contact us. And so what the contact us did was like, hey, I want to get reminded, or like there's I forgot exactly the text, but it's just one button and people can tap easily, and we will send them an email a few hours later. And we did this intentionally a few hours later because that's hopefully they'll be back on their desktop at the same time the next time they check their email. But essentially, we found that people are not going to purchase, so why force them to purchase? Same thing goes with e-commerce sites. A friend of mine has a popular e-commerce site. He's doing well into the 8 figures a year. That's 10+ million dollars in sales a year. And what he found was buy now does not work. Bookmark works. Um, email myself works. Save as a save as an icon works, or on your phone. So those types of things again optimize for the best um, user experience and help people get the job done. But those are not necessarily specific SEO things. Those are things that are going to help you make the most from SEO. Now, Google has already said mobile site speed, obviously, and mobile responsive sites plays a part in rankings. So you might as well get ahead. But think about when you figure out what to display on mobile, you display what's going to be useful for the person at that time. And again, I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a few more slides. All right, so I just dabbled into this already. Site speed. Let's put it this way. People want instant gratification with the things like Snapchat, with Instagram, with WhatsApp, the instant gratification. Um, Hold on one second. Somebody asked, oh, okay, I'll answer the question at the end, but I will come back to that for sure, Andrew. Anyways, going back to site speed, people want instant gratification. So there's 4 things you can do really to optimize that. I can talk about why you should optimize it, but really just do it because it is playing a bigger and bigger fact into search engine optimization. In fact, with my site, sujanpatel.com, I recently relaunched my site. It was an old crummy website. I redesigned it, had a developer actually optimize for this, and my site gets about 10,000 visits a month from SEO. As soon as I optimize the site speed, and keep in mind, I get about 50,000 visits total. It's a very it's not a very big site. I don't focus on SEO. I focus on writing good content. But that's the one thing I did in terms of SEO is optimize the site speed, and I got a 63% in improvement in my rankings. I get about in my traffic, I get about 16 to 17,000 visitors a month from SEO now, and that's the only thing I did. So it does work, and I always like to test in isolated situations so get as clean results as possible. But anyways, back to the tips. 4 things to do: optimize your images, make sure they're not too big. Don't upload a 3 megabyte file. If you really want to get crazy, you can use a CDN if you have a large site and kind of offshore the hosting of your images. Cache your database. Make sure you're not always calling a server for every single page that you load. If you have like WordPress, Drupal, what have you, minimize the plugins you use. Um, in development or when I release a site for any client or company I work with, I always turn on 1 or 2 plugins at a time and test for site speed. I'll figure out which ones are taking up, the long load times and which ones causing the site to load slow, and I'll try to work around those or find better plugins. At the end of the day, lazy loading, asynchronous kind of loading is going to help you because at least your content is going to load first, your images can load second, and then whatever else. So like on my site, social plugins and um, kind of other miscellaneous things that are not key to somebody using the site is what comes up last. At least people can start to read the content. All right, so understanding the difference between mobile and desktop. This is very, very huge. This is probably the most important thing for mobile, and I touched on this with Ring Central, but think about this. When you're on your mobile device and you're looking for food, you're probably looking for food now. You're looking for food later. You're looking to eat food, just like pizza. Um, where in regards to desktop, when you're looking for food, you may be looking for food recipes. You could be looking for food in the near future, like what, restaurants to eat, um, or you might be just doing some research. But on mobile, I can guarantee you, when you're looking for food, it's mostly because you want to eat. So the pizza example is the kind of the easiest way I can describe it. If you're looking for pizza on your desk on your phone, you likely want pizza now. If you're looking for pizza on your desktop, you could probably wait a bit. And so a site like Pizza Hut definitely needs to make know that, and or a site like but Domino's, any of these delivery things, um, they should have a mobile experience that's different, uh, and make sure that instant gratification comes on, or is there for the mobile devices. All right, so keyword themes. So another good thing to focus on when you're doing SEO is figuring out the different themes that are that you want to optimize for. And so, for example, when I work there, we are scheduling software. We help people manage their employees and when they come in, when they clock in and out, and so on. People refer to us many different ways. Some people call us scheduling software. Some people call us staffing software. The millennial generation, the 18 to 35 range, they call us scheduling app or scheduler. That's just what they're used. That's their lingo. Some people call us employee scheduling software. In fact, the technical term for us right now is, if you were to ask an HR person, we are a workforce management solution. Wow, that sounds really boring, but that's why people use scheduler. Why this matters is because these are 6 individual themes, all with their own optimization and long tail keywords underneath. And so knowing this is very, very different. Not only if I'm going to rank for the word scheduling app and scheduler, I'm not only going to optimize for those keywords, I will try to get a landing page dedicated to this page, to these keywords, and maybe even have my copy slightly different, because from talking to customers, I found that the younger generation, scheduling app, scheduler, they don't want to hear what we do. They want to try it out. They want to hear in their own words. So my headline will be slightly different. My copy will be slightly different. But for people searching for workforce management, they want documentation. They're used to, hey, mail me a pamphlet of what you do. Give me a PDF guide. Mail me a guide of how to use this. And in fact, you may want to change the user experience for these things. Um, Going back to site speed real quick, I use Google Website Optimizer. Easiest thing, you run the website, you run the URL, and bam, like you have a score. Optimize for 80 and above. All right, so going back to keyword theme, sorry, I wanted to answer that question real quick. Um, it's important that you focus on these different themes, because then you can write content around it. Then now, if you have 6 themes, now you have 6 things you need to focus on and content you can create, or maybe you can lump up scheduling software and staffing software on the same area and tackle it that way. So that's why it's very, very important. And you might find that one theme has low volume, so don't focus on it. You might find certain themes are really, really important. And remember, volume is good, but it's all about the conversion at the end of the day. So think about this. I test always on paid search. I spend a few $100s before I start optimization, and I test each one of those keywords. I try to figure out what the audience is, what they want, and try to do some surveys. More about that in a minute. Like I said, around keyword themes, focus on and play on the long tail. There's for every head keyword, there's 100 long tail keywords. Um, don't don't necessarily focus specifically on the long tail, but make sure you optimize for the long tail. So you're tackling long tail keywords along the way. So there's a lot of volume there. Make sure you play that area. All right. This is another really, really important thing. Keyword intent. So this um, this may be a bad example, but keyword intent is essentially thinking about, I'll get to your question in a bit, thinking about keyword intent and really figuring out what your customers want, what your users are looking for, if they're willing to make a purchase, or are they just browsing, or are they just doing research. So blender bottle is a kind of protein shake, or you can kind of you can make a smoothie on the go after the gym. Um, Essentially, there's a lot of keywords. If you look at this list, there is a few keywords that don't fit good keyword intent. For example, blender bottle recipes. You're likely not going to convert if you are looking for recipes. You're probably just looking for things you can do with your already existing blender bottle. If you're looking for a blender bottle coupon code, you are likely already in the checkout, or you can very, very close to making a purchase. That's a good keyword to focus on. Cheap blender bottles, 20-ounce blender bottles. If you are looking for a 20-ounce, very, very specific blender bottle, you can bet you that you're likely going to convert. You're very high intent on purchasing. So focus on keywords that are going to call for an action. Or if you're a research, or if you're not an e-commerce site or selling a product, and you're let's say you're a book review site, focus on keywords related to book reviews. What book should I read? Best business books, what have you. There's a lot of different ways you can leverage intent, but not thinking about it is a big mistake. All right, so I talked about earlier, know who your customers are, what they want, what they want to do, and this is really important. The way I do this is I use Qualaroo or any type of surveying tool. I also um, look at my I talk to my sales and support team. I talk to kind of the people that are talking to customers. I even go to trade shows and talk to my customers directly. Um, I join our sales guys and say, hey guys, like, what do our customers want? I'll go talk to them. In fact, I've come up with the best marketing ideas from talking to our customers in person. They found that certain people want things that are different than what I thought they wanted, and I can optimize accordingly. So the easiest way to learn who your customers are is doing a quick survey. You can, Qualaroo is a little thing that pops up on the bottom right or bottom left. You can ask, what did you come to the site to do? Did you find what you were looking for? And if you ask, the best question is, what did you come to the site to do? Keep it open-ended. Let them tell you exactly what they want. If they came for radio and you are a television e-commerce site, guess what? Maybe you're optimizing wrong, or maybe you should start selling radios. Hopefully no one's selling radios anymore. But anyways, find out who your customers are, and go talk to them. Audit, if you have live chat, go audit all the live chat logs. I guarantee you'll not only find what they want, but you'll find content you can create and ideas around that. All right. So the next thing, super excited, building your brand. So this used to be a non-existent thing. This used to be, let the branding guys do it. We're SEOs. We don't need to optimize. But you do now. You have to. So the first and foremost thing is to tie your brand to a keyword. My favorite example of this is Moz. They do a great job. They have so many sub-brands. Now, Amazon and Intuit, they're billion-dollar companies or close to it. We probably don't have the resources, most of the people here or myself, the resources to build a brand like Amazon, but we likely have the resources to build a brand like Moz. If you've been in the SEO space for 5+ years, you've probably seen them grow to have a budget or bigger budget to become the brand they are. But the way they did this is by having um, different brand names, and they all tie to a keyword. So, for example, Whiteboard Friday, Moz Analytics. How many people here have heard of the Beginner's Guide to SEO? Well, now it's the Moz SEO Guide. Well, the reason why keywords are brand and tying them into a keyword is very, very important is think about it this way. Moz SEO Guide has been linked to so many times that um, it ranks really well. But because it gets so many links, if people are linking now using the keyword Moz SEO Guide, the word Moz is being tied to SEO Guide. And now what that means is Google thinks the brand Moz is closely related or relevant to SEO Guide. What does that mean? It means Moz is more relevant for SEO than other brands out there. That's a huge play. That Moz Local, Moz Blog, those are probably not great examples, but Moz SEO, Moz Rank, Moz SEO Guide are very, very good examples. Moz Analytics, again, Moz is now tied to the keyword analytics, and it's such a big, it ties your brand to a keyword. All right, so my rule of thumb, I build probably 200 links a month by accident, or not focusing on link building. I don't do any link building anymore. I focus on getting brand mentions. So forget links. It's a bold statement. Forget links. Focus on brand mentions, because the reason is that your brand mention is being monitored whether it's linked or not. Google a few years ago started really actively monitoring your your brand, and it is a part of why you rank. If you don't have a brand and you're just around keywords and you just have links, you're more likely to be caught in an algorithm update than than um, than if you had a bigger brand. And keep in mind, when you build brand mentions, most of those times those are links back to you. So I'm just saying, add one more thing to focus on, or kind of back a step up and focus on the brand as a whole. So this next slide, I'm going to talk about link building that works, and I'll continue on examples of um, of content marketing and branding that works. To answer your question real quick, was SEO Moz a good thing for SEO purposes, or changing the name from SEO Moz to Moz? I don't think they did that for SEO. What they really did that for was to get their brand outside of just being SEO. They have Moz Local, they have Follower Along. They are really an internet marketing tool, or trying to brand themselves as a more holistic internet marketing tool. And being stuck to the name SEO was not a great branding or company thing. So they didn't do it for SEO purposes. It probably didn't help them, but they have so many links and brand mentions, it didn't really matter. All right, going back to link building. This is my favorite part of the presentation. I'll quote myself here. Link building is freaking hard work. Put in time, use the right tools, and you're going to be successful. Definitely don't half-ass it. Excuse my language, but I'm very, very passionate about link building. I This is my bread and butter. I started off as a link builder. I've always built links, and again, a lot of times it's not intentional, but that's even better. So without further ado, this is a lot of meat, and I'll probably go and talk about this for a little bit of time. Um, uh, so first and foremost, steal your competitors' links with tools like Ahrefs, and steal their latest content with BuzzSumo, Majestic. And what I mean by steal is monitor your competitors, where they're getting their latest links. And if they're getting mentions, go contact them and say, hey, we're a company that does this, this, and that. You should link to us. Probably shouldn't say it that exact way. That's just a bad example. But contacting them is contacting people that mention your competitors is going to be, you could potentially get links that way, and it's just money on the table. People, your competitors building links, you might as well go and get the same links. Now, if they're building links with content or they're writing content, you can use BuzzSumo to see what the latest piece of content they wrote and try to reverse engineer what they're doing. Maybe even write something better, but it's a great way. So, as an example, I monitor content weekly, and I have one person dedicated to hunting down links and doing outreach for when I work. And what that means is, like, they are constantly monitoring these sites. We have about 5 or 10 competitors, or actually 6 competitors, and we use my tool, Content Marketer, to do the outreach, and we use BuzzSumo to find out what they're writing, and we use Ahrefs to see, and Open Site Explorer to see what their latest links are. And so we're just always trying to go after their links. I don't think it's the easiest thing to do, but again, if you put in time, you can build links, and they're just waiting to be built. All right, number 2, get interviews on blogs and podcasts. So sounds hard to do, but it's actually not. It's not that hard. There are lots of podcasts, and podcasts is coming back. I remember 2005, the podcast is a huge crave. It's definitely back. So you can get interviews on podcasts. If you check out Podbay.fm, there's a lot of podcasts listed on there, but you can just Google, like, e-commerce podcast. Or in my case, what I did for my growth hacking ebook is I used BuzzSumo to find everywhere top growth hackers had podcast interviews. Like Sean Ellis and Morgan Brown are really well-known growth hackers. So what I did was I said, well, if they get interviewed on, or thought, if they get interviewed on all these growth hacking podcasts on growth hacking, I should too, since I wrote an ebook on growth hacking. So I just emailed everyone that every podcast that they were interviewed on, saying what I was up to, 2 or 3 sentences, and why they should interview me. Gave them a free copy of my book, and I got a handful of podcasts. In fact, I got about 5 or 6 podcasts reaching out to about 30 people. And then eventually these podcasts started going live, and then people started coming to me to interview me. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, you write for Forbes, you write for Inc., you're already doing a lot of branding. Well, when I did this, I didn't have any of that. I didn't have Inc., I didn't have Entrepreneur. Even if I did, that doesn't make me any more authority as a growth hacker. I didn't actually even use that in my email outreach. So anyone can do it. If you definitely need to have kind of put together your resume, write a blog, do something that's worthy or worthwhile. So I wrote an ebook, and again, the ebook was, if you've downloaded my ebook, the first version of that, I created in Apple Keynote. It was very, very low tech. So you don't have to you can write in a Word doc. It could be, very, very loosely designed, and then build on it if it works. Anyways, the next idea, or the next thing, roundup post. There's so many roundup posts happening all the time, weekly, monthly, daily roundups. Look at this keyword phrase, in title, roundup, and then insert any keyword, and put those in title roundup in parentheses. And again, pitch your latest and greatest content. Anytime I write a piece of content, I'll actually go out to all the roundups that are related. So if I'm writing about, let's say, in hourly wages or HR regulations, and again, like, these are not very sexy topics, but that even makes a better example. I will reach out to the HR roundup, or, like, entitle whatever HR, and or HR blog, or human resources and whatnot, and you'll find these types of roundups, and we get included in 7 to 10 of these a month. At first, we did a lot of outreach to get these roundups, and then after a while, once we built relationships with a lot of these guys, they just came to us because we got on their radar. So the roundup is a compounding ROI. So definitely do that. All right, so guest post, it still works. So I do about 30 or 40 guest posts, or actually about 25 guest posts a month. That's me personally. I write every single day. Yes, it's a lot of hard work. It's not easy, but I have an editor and a researcher to help me put my content together. But guest post is huge. Now, don't guest post for links, guest posts for traffic. Now, if you're judging the quality of a guest post based off how much traffic and social shares they get, and that again, that gets your brand out there, that's the right way to do it, because if they get one click back to your site, they're likely a low quality, low traffic, or the topic really sucked. Maybe that's part of it, but they're likely not going to be as good of a site. If they're getting 1,000 shares, I guarantee you there's SEO value, there's a user base behind it to back you up. And don't focus on linking within the author bio. That stopped working in 2011, well, as effectively. Focus in the meat of the content. Write a post that's relevant to something else you wrote on your blog or on your site, and link those two together. And if they don't link it, at least you get a brand mention. So you get the brand mention along the way. All right. So another way to build links is to build links with 10x content. So what 10x content is, really content that is 10 times better than anything else out there at the time. So here's an example. I always like to call myself out. We wrote this blog for when I work around how to build content your customers would love, and we spent some time designing it. It was well designed. We put some time into it, but we didn't go all in. Neil Patel from QuickSprout um, did. He wrote an advanced guide to content marketing. I'm sure everyone here has seen all his guides. They're amazingly designed. Lots of time and money gets put into them. Well, that's also because they work. Get over 2,000 links, and this was just a kind of sampling of links to that page, and he didn't even do any link building. So um, he obviously built that brand early on. I spent time building his brand, so it works. But building 10x content, or creating content that is far superior than anything else out there, not only gets you a ton of links, it helps you guarantee your rankings for a long time to come, and making it very, very evergreen, meaning you're going to get constantly more links, more comments, and it doesn't have to be an infographic. It doesn't have to be uh, HTML, like really well built out. It could be a PDF. It could be just something that's very beautifully designed. It doesn't have to take as much time. Obviously, 10x content does. We built the HR tools, HR templates. That's our 10x, because it was far superior than anything else that was out there.